I'm looking for a low risk, low reward ETF to park $10,000 as an emergency fund for me and my family. Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Spencer and I talk all about investing, primarily in ETFs, and I've been seeing a huge craze of people looking for somewhere to park their cash. Markets have been rocky, but now have rebounded quite nicely, but it's still very important, in my opinion, to have somewhere to put your emergency fund, your uninvested cash, so it's making you money and you're not losing money due to inflation. Now, I already did a video on this. I did 4 ETFs where you can park your cash, and you guys loved it. But there are a lot more, and you guys pointed them out in the comments. So in this video, we're going to break down 9 different ETFs. I'll give you a pro and a con of each, and a little breakdown on how these funds work. So you know exactly by the end of this video which one is right for your investment strategy, and where you should be putting your emergency fund, your extra cash, or however much money you want to. Now, I hope you guys do enjoy. If you're interested in growing your portfolio and learning about ETFs, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe, and let's check them out. Now, what is a T-bill and what is a bond? Because most of these funds are based off of one of those two. So a Treasury bill it's debt issued by the federal government. Treasury bonds are the same thing, but they're long-term debt instruments used by federal governments, right? Fluctuations in price are different. So when it comes to T-bills, they're going to fluctuate less because of the short-term maturity period. When it comes to bonds, they're more profound than T-bills because they're longer-term maturity periods, like 20 to 30 years. Now, we can see that commonly we see 1 to 3 and 6 month T-bills. That's how long it takes. And generally bonds can be 1 year, 5 year, and 10 year, and then also long-term 20, 30 years. Now, the rates are interesting. So T-bills are offered to investors at a discount from the face value, meaning over time, you will get more out of it, of course, because you got it cheaper initially. And bonds pay interest in the form of a coupon, and those payments are semi-annual. Now, the risk. T-bills are nearly risk-free because they're backed by the federal government. And Treasury bonds are nearly risk-free as they're backed by the federal government. Another interesting fact is I believe both T-bills and Treasury bonds are exempt from state tax. They're not exempt from federal tax, but they are exempt from state tax, which can be very, very interesting if you're using just a Treasury bill or a Treasury bond to live off of in retirement. If you have a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money because these things usually yield a pretty low rate, you can actually live off of these and then not have to pay your state taxes. And depending on what state you're in, I'm in California, so my state tax is like 13%, which absolutely sucks. But if you're in a state that has lower taxes, it might not be as big of an issue for you. Unfortunately, you still have to pay those pesky federal taxes. So now we're going to look at the 9 ETFs, and we'll give a little breakdown to each of them and see which one fits what you need. Starting off with CSHI by NEOS. And this is a very interesting one because, I mean, NEOS is pretty well known for their capabilities in the income space. Now, they typically do high income, but we also have their 1 to 3 month T-bill ETF. Now, again, I'm going to mention you can do a T-bill ETF usually through your bank, and you have to recertify and do them over and over and over again, which is kind of a hassle. I know that because my parents do them. But when it comes to these ETFs, you can simply hold it and continually get the dividend payouts. Now, NEOS with CSHI is what I've heard people call this one, short-term T-bill ETFs plus an option strategy. Now, when you employ the options, you do get a little bit more risk because, of course, there's an option in play. Now, the benefit to this is typically it's still lower volatility in comparison to how you'd run options on stocks. And unless you see a lot of sway in the markets like we did in April of 2025, this thing still holds up really well. So it can add a little bit of risk to it, but it can also really boost your yield. So it depends on what you're looking for if CSHI is worth it. The distribution rate is 4.7%. Now, right now, interest rates have bounced back a little bit, but depending on how they've been performing, you can see the yields with all of these shift pretty drastically. Of course, with T-bills, especially if you're renewing them 1 to 3 month in, you're going to be getting rates that are different all the time. So income is kind of all over the place. CSHI has been a little more consistent than some of the others, but that options income is definitely giving it a nice boost. Next, we have Mint, a PIMCO fund, the PIMCO Enhanced Short Maturity Active Exchange Traded Fund. This is actively managed with UltraShort bonds, which is something a little bit different than what we see. And I haven't talked about PIMCO funds a lot, but I do like them. They have some good ones. Now, it has really strong management because PIMCO is very good, and it has higher income than what you would get with just regular treasuries. The con with this one, though, is the credit risk because it's not a pure safe cash play. You do get a little more risk, and that risk can get you a higher yield of 4.12%. One thing I forgot to mention with CSHI by NEOS is the expense ratio. For Mint, the gross expense ratio is 0.35. The gross is 0.36, adjusted 0.35, and for Cashy CSHI, it is 0.38. Now you're going to have a more expensive fund when they have to do more to it. So same thing with PIMCO, same thing with NEOS. If they're going to have to perform an overlay with options, they have to pay someone to do that. They have to pay to do it. It's not simply free for all these giant companies to trade at the level that they're trading with millions of dollars. They can tack on some expenses with that as well. And of course, they're trying to make a profit, which makes sense. They're doing a lot of the work for us in that case, but it all depends on what you're looking for. So the first two are very solid. Let's look at our third option for your cash. I forgot to mention that at the end of this video, I will be putting all of these into a chart on stock analysis, which you can use my link down below if you're interested for their premium membership. It's absolutely amazing, but it also helps support the channel, which I really do appreciate. But we'll compare all of these so you can see how the performance has been. And again, I haven't made my final decision. These videos, I make them, of course, to give a little bit of awareness on these different funds that are available, but it also helps me understand which one I want for my strategy for my emergency fund. Now, next we have iShares by BlackRock. BlackRock has a fund for absolutely everything. And now when it comes to NEAR, ticker NEAR, this is the iShares Short Maturity Bond ETF. And with that, you're going to get ultra short bonds and a mix of corporate and securitized debt. Now, higher the yield potential than just Treasury ETFs. And we can see that because the yield looks like 4.25%, trailing 12 months of 4.48, which I know if you're in the high income game, there's 12, 14%. But with these that are very, very safe, you get a trade-off. Expense ratio is also a little bit cheaper at 0.25%. And again, like the ones we've seen, there are some cons. The biggest con with NEAR is the fact that you're going to be more sensitive to credit markets. And credit markets just gives me another thing to track. Now, although I have seen a pretty good performance from NEAR, I don't know if I'd pass on this one. You could also build a portfolio of a couple of these to get all the different types. You can get bonds, you can get T-bills, and so on and so forth. You can get an options overlay. But I'm not positive yet. We're going to keep going. Let's look at our next ETF, ETF number 4. Now, I have to throw out a quick plug for the Circle community. You guys have been awesome. We've been growing really rapidly in here, and everyone has been giving such good information as to what they invest in and why. Now, if you're interested in the weekly dividend cheat sheet, if you're interested in the no NAV erosion cheat sheet, and I'm even building out a dividend notification system that's going to be a part of this Circle group as well, check out the pinned comment or the video description to see if it's right for you. There's a 7-day free trial. You can go in, check it out, see if it is for you. If it's not, that's totally okay. But I wanted to build a space where all of us income investors could come together, talk about things realistically as actual investors. And it's a lot easier to communicate with me, with you guys, rather than the YouTube comments, which can be blown away because I get thousands every single month. But I want to connect more, and that is part of the goal, one of the goals of the community. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Let's get back into the video. Next, we have BUXX. This is the SCYB Enhanced Income Short Maturity ETF. And I haven't looked at any funds from SCYB Management before, but maybe I should. It's always cool finding some of these different issuers and having them even maybe come on the channel to talk about these things. So BUXX is very similar to CSHI by NEOS. It's going to give you the T-bills. It's going to give you the options overlay. So you're going to have the same pros and cons as NEOS. You have a higher bit of income. I think the yield for this one is 4.47, a little bit lower than NEOS because NEOS was, I think, 4.7. But you also have a little bit of a cheaper expense ratio of 0.26. Now, while I'm a massive fan of NEOS ETFs, I think it's really important that we have competition. And this one is pretty good competition. The net assets is pretty large at nearly 500 million, and it's been a solid performer so far, which we'll look at again in the end. And I love these videos because, again, I see random new funds that I've never looked at, new management I've never looked at, and so it gives us some more options. Next, we have the Goldman Sachs UltraShort Bond ETF. And I love Goldman. I absolutely love Goldman. It's a huge pro to have Goldman have a fund that you want to buy. My problem with Goldman is I think their website kind of sucks, to be honest. So, same thing as what we've seen with some of these others. Actively managed ultra short bond fund. No options overlay with this one, a little bit of a lower yield, but the performance has been very solid. The con when it comes to these is you're going to get a lot lower upside potential than you would with just like traditional investments, which is kind of what we do when it comes to these safe ETFs, of course. Net expense ratio 0.16, gross 0.2. So you're definitely not paying a lot of money for this one, which I think is a huge talking point, especially if you're going to have a ton of money in this. One thing Goldman does well, as you can see, they did have a dip, looks like back in 2020. They didn't really have much of a dip in April. So this thing is not volatile whatsoever. Had you invested $10,000 in 2019, you'd be sitting at $12,500. So over a 7-year period, not a lot of growth whatsoever, but the yield is pretty consistent around that 4.4%. So another one to consider, especially if you're a fan of Goldman. Maybe it's a good one to have if you are a lot less risk, a lot more risk averse. You don't like a lot of volatility when it comes to your emergency fund, your savings account, which is not me. I like more risky. You guys know that, but it's still a very good option. And I think it's really, really interesting that Goldman has this one set up, probably more aimed towards retirees. And again, those living off of income. Took a snack break because my wife Natalia brought me some dates and strawberries combined. If you guys have not tried that, absolutely phenomenal. But we're back at it. UYLD, another Angel Oak Capital Advisors, never looked at their funds before. We have their UltraShort Income ETF. The pro is these are MBSs, mortgage-backed securities, and an income strategy. I should say it's a pro and a con because MBSs can be very, very interesting. They can be super volatile. And we all know MBS is back in the 2008 financial crisis. I mean, I wasn't that old, but I remember how terrible everything was. And now researching it, it makes a lot of sense. So with UYLD, you have a lot of high income potential, more than a lot of the other funds, but you're going to be sensitive to interest rates and the housing market risk. And housing market risk is a big deal because right now everything seems to be so expensive. And I know I said I live in California, so it's so much worse, but still. Now, daily distribution yield, 5.14%. 30-day SEC yield is 4.5%. So very, very solid. And this one is popular. Like Morningstar has it rated at 5 stars. If you agree with Morningstar, I mean, I like seeing what they have to say, but I don't base my purchases off of this. But the total asset speaks for itself. 1.5 billion is a very, very large amount. Their expense ratio is, whew. It's important to note that gross is what they're charging and then net is what you actually pay, the 0.34%. I believe gross ties in with a bunch of other things, but net is really what we're going to be paying. So 0.34%, not that high in comparison to some of our other funds. So another option, if you're looking for something, again, a little more diversified, something different than what we've looked at so far, you can check out UYLD. And I will have all the tickers down below in the video description. I don't own any of these yet, but I will soon because, again, I want to throw that emergency fund in something. Now for our highest yielder on the list, we have SCYB, the Schwab High Yield Bond ETF. And what's interesting is that these are high yield corporate bonds. So there's significant credit risk. That is the downside. The upside is it's very cheap, 0.03%, substantially cheaper than a lot of the other options we've been looking at. And on top of that, a super high yield. They also have, potential tax efficiency and so on. A lot of the same language they use with a lot of their funds. I mean, Charles Schwab has SCHD, which is one of the most popular dividend funds on the market. But SCYB, maybe there's another good option here. Total assets, 2.4 billion, probably one of the largest we have. Expense ratio, again, being so unbelievably low. And the yields have been very, very solid. I missed it. Where did the yield go? We can see the distribution yield of 7.01%. The average yield to maturity is 7%, which is phenomenal. 7.01% is absolutely amazing. And you're getting this within a portfolio that you're relatively low risk with. And that is key. It would take a lot for this to really be shaken. There have been rumors of issues with credit. I've seen people kind of saying, no, it's not realistic. Everything's fine. You never really know who to believe, but just make sure that these funds fit your risk category. All right. And as always, this is not financial advice, right? Not financial advice. Do your own research. It's really important to how we invest and how we act as individual investors. So SCYB has some potential. I could definitely see this underperforming in a bad market, but when we throw this on the chart, we'll see how it really performs. ICSH, the iShares UltraShort Duration Bond Active ETF. Now, this one has a low expense ratio, again, 0.08%, and an SEC yield of 4%, 4.41 trailing 12 months. Very, very important because a lot of these yields sit around that 4.5%, but will come down again as we see rates start to fall. So this one has some pros: ultra short corporates and securitized debt. Another pro, low expense ratio and pretty consistent payouts, pretty consistent income. The con is it's not risk-free like treasuries, and we'll see that on the chart in just a moment, which is a bummer. But You cannot have your cake and eat it too. So I like to look at it as a spectrum. The higher risk you have, the higher reward potential that you have, but the higher downside potential you have as well. And that's why it's really important to match these to your own investment style. There's a lot by BlackRock, there's a lot by Schwab, there's a lot of other options as well. And don't forget, if there's any I miss on this list, drop them down in the comments. That will help me a ton. So very, very interesting. Now we're going to check out our 9th ETF, SGOV. Another iShares one. We can see BlackRock has a lot of ETFs, and this is the iShares 0 to 3 month Treasury bond ETF. A low expense ratio of 0.09%, and the yield is roughly, trailing 12 months is 3.95. Now remember, a lot of these are going to be impacted by interest rates. It is going to pull down when interest rates drop and increase when rates go up, which can be a pro and a con. I like when interest rates are low because I like seeing a lot of the growth that we can have in the market, and I want to refinance my house, which one day maybe I'll be able to do because the rate is awful, absolutely awful. Now, SGOV is probably the safest on this list. Morningstar rating is 3 stars. Again, if that's important to you, there you go. But it's 0 to 3 month US Treasury bills. Very, very safe near cash equivalent, and that's why the yield is lower, 3.55%. It is the safest on the list, I should say that. Lower yield versus the enhanced income ETFs, but your trade-off is that safety. So if you have $10 million and you want to live off of an ETF, SGOV is the safest that you're going to look at. If you are younger like myself and you want to have a little more volatility maybe involved, then you have CSHI, you have SCYB, and a few of the other ones listed in this video, showcasing their returns. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to pull all this data up on stock analysis, and let's see how these have really been performing and which one is the best and the worst in the last year. On the 1-year chart, it is not even close. We can see SCYB has been up almost 11% as of right now, as of the time of filming this video. In second place, we have CSHI, which is why I like CSHI a lot. I think it's hard to beat. I think it's a good mix of risk and security at the same time. Mint has been doing well. A lot of these guys have been doing really, really well. At one point, NEAR was actually outperforming CSHI, but that's the thing. You never know how different changes in the market are going to impact these funds. And NEAR dropped a lot more in this latest pullback. Also, SCYB dropped a lot. It was up 10% and fell all the way down to being up 7, almost 8%. Not a crazy drop, but if you have a substantial amount of money in this and you really don't want your money to go down, it's very important that it doesn't. It is something to note. So let's zoom out a little bit. We'll go to the 3-year. We'll go to the max because not all of these have been trading for 3 years. So max starting August of 2023, the best performer by far is going to be SCYB, up 26%. And while you may look at this and go, I want that one, it's up the most, remember that this is not necessarily a growth asset. You want security. That's the whole point of this video, right? I'm going to title it something like Safe ETFs. These are about safety in the market. Then scaling down, we can see second place, I believe, yes, is UYLD, which has done very, very well, up 17%. You're getting 17% in a couple of years on your uninvested cash. That is hard to beat. CSHI is not one of the best performers long-term, and it did have a bit of a dip in April of 2025. Mint has been doing okay. We'll scroll down and look at the actual performances. We can see the actual returns on the 1 year and since inception. So a lot of these, CSHI has done really well. A lot of the other ones are a lot lower, but depending on when they came out, you can't really base it off the same thing because of the fact that some have been trading for a lot longer. BUXX, GSST, UYLD, SCYB, ICSH, and SGOV. So a lot of different options on here, and I think it's really, really interesting how these all stack up. Now, again, this is not a one-size-fits-all. You can build a portfolio of all of them. You can build a portfolio of 2 of them. It all depends on what you're looking for. But I do hope you guys found this video informative, educational, and hopefully helpful for your investing needs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's very important. Which one are you picking, and did I leave any out? As always, I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.